Hi, I'm Hannah Telluselle, and I've had the blessing and the fortune to live in Hawaii for a while. Actually, a couple of times for a couple of years in various occasions. And during this time, I learned a lot about the local culture and their values, what they live by. I've always been curious about indigenous people and their way of living in harmony with nature, since I love animals myself and used to horseback ride when I grew up. So, while I was in Hawaii, I got to learn this. As you might already know, the way to greet someone in Hawaii is to say aloha. Aloha is more than just a hello or goodbye. It actually incorporates a meaning through all its letters like an acronym. It's ala, lokahi, olaio, ha'ahaha, ahunui. And this simply means to acknowledge that we joyfully share breath and that we show each other compassion and generosity of heart and a greeting of love. To live aloha means to incorporate certain values that have become like concepts. And one of these most important values is to live pono. Pono means to live righteously, to live truthfully, to carry out aloha, to live with a positive pride, to set boundaries, to be in alignment with the three selves, and to speak in alignment with heart and mind. And when you live on an isolated island, it's easier to understand how much we are interdependent. And to make sure that we can make things right again whenever there's been a conflict, we use something called ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono is a way of practicing forgiveness through prayer and of course by meeting together and making sure that we solve whatever has been causing any harm. It also is a way to take responsibility for this harm and connect it through generations to make sure that it doesn't continue. We do this by finding an example within ourselves when you have felt the same harm that you have been accused of, and then you pray for forgiveness through this relationship, even if you can't find and meet the person you need to reconcile with. I'll give you an example. For example, if someone has told you that they are jealous of you and they're acting out, confusing you or accusing you of various things, then I'm sure you can relate because at some point in your life, you too have been feeling jealous, maybe in another relationship. And that way you can understand the other person, find compassion, and therefore forgive. This can be extended into malama. Malama means to care for oneself, others, and the land. It's a matter of acknowledging that we all relate, that we show consideration, that we share resources, that we preserve the environment, and that we honor the elders. This together makes it possible to find maluhia. Maluhia means to find inner serenity, to create harmony at home, to preserve beauty, and to strive for peace and calm. Another important concept for Hawaii is the practice of dancing hula. Dancing hula is done in various forms to tell the story of the song because back in the day, Hawaiian was mostly an oral tradition where everything was told by song and dance. This hula is usually accompanied either by a chant and a drum for traditional kahiko or by an ukulele and song for modern oana. And the Hawaiian hula dance is considered the heartbeat of the Hawaiian people, and since it was once banned by missionaries, it has been even more prideful and more important since King Kalakaua was able to revive and restore it. Dancing hula requires to have an initiated teacher, which is called a kumu, who has been taught in lineage with his or her own school called an halau. And often Hawaiians gather together and compete either inside an island or between islands, where the Merry Monarch Festival in April is the most famous one. Once you begin to understand how to live aloha, to practice being pono and forgiveness through ho'oponopono, finding maluhia, peace and serenity, and of course joining dancing hula, you become more aware of your own inner essence and how this is connected to the place where you're staying and to Mother Nature, Mother Earth itself. When we realize this, we can get in contact with something referred to as mana. Mana is our personal essence of energy and the core energy of a place, the sun, the moon, and the natural elements. Mana can be found in our bones, teeth, and hair, and this is why it's so important to make sure that you don't overstep any boundaries when you try to build something on Hawaii, because you never know who is being buried underneath that particular piece of land where there still is mana. This mana is also a power we can have when we live pono, and mana can also be seen as an extension of our ancestors. Practically speaking, then what means it to live aloha? Well, you can do little things for other people simply out of the joy and love you have for yourself, your neighbor, and the land you're living in. This can be things like helping a neighbor with chores. It can be to bring food to those in need. It is a matter of leaving a place better looking than you found it. It's to allow someone to cut in line in front of you. It's definitely to respect the wisdom of the elders and live sustainably and buy local. It's a matter to remember to never litter and express gratitude towards the land. And of course, to solve conflicts and practice forgiveness. It's a matter of being generous with your time and patience, and always try to cooperate. If you're curious to learn more about what happened on my journeys, I've written 2 books, The Call for Divine Mothering and The Call for Divine Fathering, about my journeys in Hawaii. You can order them at Amazon and Kindle and see more about them on my webpage at Telluselle.com. In my books, I share personal examples of how I found a new understanding of both myself and my relationships through the lens of Aloha, a way of life that we all can use. Thank you for listening.